He is the founder and CTO of MariaDB, and he is also the founder of MySQL Lab. So I would like to welcome to the stage Monty.
First, quick question. How many here are developers? And how many are entrepreneurs? So this is a talk for, mostly actually for entrepreneurs, but also for anybody who would like to be entrepreneurs. I thought I would have 45 minutes to 1 hour, 35, so I will go through the slide quickly. But slides will be available, and the slides are made with the intention that it should be a reference for anybody who wants to create a company who would deliver quality open source software and be able to compete with any commercial big guy and be successful for that, like the same way that I've been successful with MySQL. So how many are working with open source? Okay, that's about it. 4 hands. And those who are not, how many would like to work with open source? Okay, a few more. So the reason I love open source is it gives you ability to do much more with much less. There are much of hype about open source, which is not necessarily true, like this statement from Kramer and Linus Torvalds, who says that open source basically has less bugs, which is true for all the successful open source projects. That's not something that's inherited with open source by itself. The biggest problem with open source is actually to be able to make money so you can do open source full time. And this is from Bruno Lavaggi, but basically saying that in this experience you can do successful open source on Apache license, which is one of the most free ones. And I fully agree with this one. So this talk is for people who want to know more about open source and especially do an open source project and be successful about that. And slides will be available, so you don't need to take pictures. You can, of course, if you want to. I believe that open source is a better way to do software, and both because you get better security, because lots of people are looking at your code, doing auditing on it, better quality, and the most two important things for me as an open source user is that you don't have a vendor lock-in. You are in charge of your own destiny. And this is the thing that you don't get in commercial software. So it's a better way to develop software. You get more developers, you get code used in ways that you could ever imagine. And it works very good for projects that are used by lots of companies. But it's very hard to create a profitable company on open source. And I have, this year, I have been unfortunate to see a lot of companies I know have friends on going out of business just because they didn't get things right. So the top reason to create an open source project is you usually want to solve your own problem. This was happened in MySQL. I had a problem I wanted to solve for my customers. I created MySQL for that. Same thing with PHP. You had Linus Torvalds doing Linux because it was a hobby. There's also companies who are realizing existing code as open source just because they don't believe that they can compete with the big guys if they don't do that. So I believe that doing open source is something that is close to human nature because first you use open source. Everybody here I believe is using open source, even if you don't know it, because it's less expensive. And the reason open source works is that when a developer takes open source software and finds a reason to extend it either because of a bug or a feature, it's really, really hard to keep it up. So it's easier to give it away to the original project, so you don't need to maintain the code. And some people participate to increase the production and to increase the reputation. And people are lazy, and that's why it's easier to work with a project than do everything yourself. So if you want to start a new project, there's one guy outside asking how to do that. It's much better to be part of an existing project and come up with something new. And this was something that Sun Microsoft system did wrong in the old days. They really wanted to participate in open source. They looked at existing projects and thought, we can do this so much better. So they created their own project and released open source, but it was never popular because this just made the original projects angry with why didn't you participate, and they never got the developer base they needed to keep the projects alive. So basically Sun had to do everything regarding those. And when creating an open source project, the software is not the main thing. You need to have a community, you need to have users, and because the users will eventually get you developers, you also need to do a forum knowledge-based website so that people can easily participate in your project. And that takes a lot of time. And in the MySQL days, we spent a lot of time doing documentation because that was the easy way for people to be able to understand how to use the project and participate. And I also believe that for a project to be successful, you need to have a public person with the face of the project that people can associate themselves with. Like you have me for MySQL and MariaDB, you have groups with Postgres, Widenius for install us for Linux. Somebody you can have authority when things goes wrong can step in and fix things. You also need to do mentoring with people who participate to get them to create good code. And that takes a lot of time. And if you're successful, you will get a lot of passionate users and developers, and that helps recruitment. In my spare time, and even though in MariaDB, most of the recruitments we do is from people who participate on the main list, giving us code, working with us, and then we can hire them. And then we already from the day one, we know that these are skillful people. To be successful in open source, the main currency is trust, and transparency is the way that you get trust. You can't work with fake news in development because everything is open. So you need to have guidelines for how to do things, what to expect from the company. Are you going to be open core, closed source, and so on? And what's your statement for how you will treat open source? And be open about your bugs. All software was bugs. When I started with MySQL and documented every single bug, like we do in MariaDB, our investors said that, how can you do that? People will know that there are bugs. It's even, I believe that that's the only way that you can get people to help you both fixing those and also know what we know and what we are about to fix and when they will be fixed. And you need to be very responding to your community. You need to travel, have talks, listen to those, participate on email lists. So during the first 5 years of MySQL time, I wrote personally 30,000 emails just helping people. And this was not customers, this was anybody, just to help them start and use MySQL. And that created a group who started to help others. And I think that that's probably one of the biggest reasons MySQL was a success. the product itself. And one of the mistakes some companies do when they start or consider open source, they think that, oh, we release this, then you'll get a lot of developers attending the project, and you will get a lot of help. Don't expect that you get a single line of code during the first 5 years, because how open source works, you will get people participate when they have tested your product, they see this is useful, they started to use it, and then they notice that we need to do these fixes or extensions, and then they will give back. But that's a long time process for all that to happen. That's why we will not get good initially. Now with MariaDB we have 185 people who do commits, so we are basically over the line where people have started to use MariaDB, find it useful and contributing. But it took some 5 years until we started to get there. But now we are better than we ever was in MySQL times. MariaDB has no more contributions during 1 year than MySQL had under its lifetime. Because in MySQL we didn't get so much contributions for the core product itself, with all tools around, all APIs to different languages, that was created by the users. And we would never have been able to do MySQL in the size that we did if it wouldn't be open source, and if the user base wouldn't have created the glue to MariaDB for MySQL for basically everything. You also need to be a good open source citizen, and that means that when people help you, you need to help them to become known. You need to be give them credit. You need also to understand the code that they give to you is something that they probably want to maintain, and as long as they do that, you need to keep them in the process of having them first do the fixes, and then you do the maintenance. If they don't want to maintain it, then you as a project leaders are free to do whatever you do. So transparency and trust, that's the currency of open source. Release early and often, that's really critical. You shouldn't be afraid to release your first buggy alpha version of the next version of the product early, because that's when you get feedback. Like in the previous talk about APIs, is that you want early to know if you're going in the right direction, and if people are interested in what you're doing, they will start helping you early, so your final product will be better. Because if you release it later, then we can only help you in the next version. And developers are fully prepared to test and use alpha code. As long as you put the expectations right that this will work for this one, we haven't done full testing yet. And you have to make it easy to use your product. So with MySQL, we were one of the first open source products that from the start, we did binaries for almost all platforms. We did testing all these platforms and different compilers, so it was easy to use everywhere. We do the same thing with MariaDB, so you can find MariaDB on all clouds, all possible platforms. Some people have imported to Android. I just see that myself, we haven't done that. But you need to make it easy for people to use. So we always had a rule in MySQL that you need to get it up and running and working in 50 minutes from the time you clicked on it, download it from the website. And that's absolutely critical. Anything you can do to make it simpler to use from the start. Less questions, anything, that's really, really critical. Lots of companies believe that if you use open source, the cost is zero. And this is the reason that open source companies have so difficult to survive. People use your code and they don't want to give anything back. If your company is doing a transition from closed source to open source, please ensure that you actually pay back to the communities that you are depending on. And you buy support even if you don't have to, because otherwise these companies will not succeed. We we're using lots of tools in MariaDB, and I'm constantly contributing to all the projects that we are involved in. And if there's something that is missing in an open source project, don't just expect that it will come eventually. Contact the developer, say that we would like to see this feature, we are willing to pay for it. Because in most projects, that actually the features are coming into existence. And if you're not participating, the project that you are depending on will never evolve in the way that you would like it to evolve. So I would say that the state of open source is pretty good. 7 years ago in conferences, actually, at open source conference we said that open source is now winning. We are the data centers, the desktop is the next thing, and soon everything will be open source, or most of it. Unfortunately, the iPhone and Android changed that. You have some 1.5 million apps on Google, on Android, but of those only a little more than 1,000 is open source. So open source is failing. And the single reason they are failing is that it's very hard to get money to develop an app if it's open source. And that's true, but there are solutions for that. So open source is it's a philosophy and the development model. Some people even believe it's a religion, you have to follow it to the letter. The sad part is there's no guarantee that with doing open source you will get any money. And the money that you get, maybe only support money, but you can't create a company on that. Sorry to see you leave. This may be the most important talk you ever attended to. Even then, even more important. So there's lots of different kinds of open source projects, but I only have 20 minutes left, so I want to go to the interesting things. But so creating an open source company, you need to decide what kind of company you want to have. I'm working at virtual companies from the start, and I also created something called a hacking business model for those who want to create a company where everybody is treated as equal. So you should look at that one. So this is probably the most important slide for anybody who's an entrepreneur to understand. Basically, doing open source or doing software, you have two kinds of companies. You can do a service company, which most of the open source companies unfortunately fall into, where you support training, consulting, and you spend some the money that you get on creating the product. Or you do something else during the day and do open source during night. Even if you create a company that has 10 million of revenue, it's worth 20 million, because the factories do. If you do a software company where you sell licenses, and you do 10 million, it's worth 100 million. As simple as that. And you can ask any investors about that. And that's why you need license revenue in some form, even with open source. Because you can't compete just doing services. That means that if you want to hire 10 developers, you basically have to hire 40 service personnel just to be able to support these 10 developers. It doesn't work. You can do successful business, you can do, it's good to be able to do something where you earn 10 million. But I want to see more open source companies who can compete with the biggest companies in the world on almost equal terms. And for that you need license revenue. And also when you create a company, you need to plan what you want to do with the company. Is it something that you want to do the rest of your life? Or is it something that you want to put to the market, get it sold? Or like we did in MariaDB, create an open source foundation that takes care of it to ensure it's always free. So why go open source if you are a successful project? You get more users, you get lower cost of development. development, you get higher quality code, and you get a product that will be useful for more things. And that of course means bigger market, more possibilities. But of course, if everything is free, you still need to do something. So, in Finland I have seen lots of small companies being forced to do open source, because when they go to a big company and try to sell the software, the company says that you can't trust it to exist after a couple of years. So, if you do open source, it wouldn't be a problem, and then they go open source and then get service revenue for this big company. So open source is more trustworthy because there's no vendor lock-in. You know that if something happens, you can hire developers to take care of your business. And there can be no change in business terms or the vendor stops supporting the product. If the popular open source product would lose a vendor, somebody else would take over. And in the worst case, you can take it over probably for a smaller cost than using a closed source commercial product. And of course, nowadays, trapdoors is bad with closed source software, and you don't know what the governments are forcing the big companies to do. With open source, there's no risk that there will be hidden trapdoors. So, benefits for developers using open source. Most of you are developers, you know it's easier to fix bugs. The APIs are easier, you can see what's happening. And you have the freedom to do changes that you need. There's lots of big businesses that is totally depending on open source. You have Twitter, LinkedIn. Most of the big companies on the web have a whole infrastructure based on open source. And even Apple wouldn't exist today in the same with iPhone and everything else if they wouldn't have open source as a base to use. And so the question, then the question is when to go open source. I would say that when you have figured out how you can do open source full time without having to do anything else and be able to do sustainable business with that. And that was the reason I started with MySQL. We had a successful business with a few customers, but we thought that if we go open source with MySQL, we will not get less business than we have now. And this is good enough, so we can do it full time. And that's why we made it. We also made it sure that we had a license that made it possible to be able to grow and hire people. And if the project will be successful, we can actually make it big. So then the question, what license to use? And this is also the question, do you want to do a service model or a license model? There's nothing wrong with service models. There's lots of successful companies doing that. But if you want to have potential to become rich and change the world, you need to think about this. So these are basically the most important open source licenses. There are some hundreds of those, but these are the only ones that you need to know, and you have more freedom up in public domain and less freedom what you can do down. This also means that the higher up you go, then you are in a service business. If you go more down, then you have a choice of doing also license business. So these are basically the only, I think, successful or possible businesses around open source. And I will have a slide of each of those. So Open Core is probably one of the most used ones. The big databases like MongoDB, they use Open Core. MySQL has also gone to Open Core, which basically means that you have a basic set of features that are free, but if you need something more advanced, then you have to pay a license to get the extra stuff. So, from my point of view, this is totally disgusting. has nothing to do with open source, as long as you need anything on extra stuff. Because all the freedoms that you expect in open source, and why you're choosing open source, because you don't want to be use a closed source, you lose all of them. You can change, modify, you can fix things. There's one vendor who will be in charge of your destiny. You can fix bugs, which I hate with passion. Of course, if you don't have any other choice for doing a business, I mean, this is a viable business model that has nothing to do with open source. Some people pointed out you can also do donation and crowdfunding for project. Crowdfunding is a great way to get initial money. But the problem with the project is that you want to do releases probably every month or the second month, and people are prepared to pay for the first release. They will not pay for the maintenance and everything else that you need to do for a real project. So even if you do crowdfunding, you need to have a plan for the end. In MariaDB, even if you have 10 million users at least, we have about 5,000 in donations. So even if you are successful, it doesn't mean that people will donate money to you, unfortunately. And I did create the MariaDB Foundation to be able to get bigger donations, and we have now 5 members in the foundation who is paying 50,000 to 100,000 a year, and just to ensure that MariaDB will always be open source, and we can hire people to work with the community. So I managed to get some funding via donation and crowdfunding, but naturally that's not enough to drive the whole project. We are dual licensing, and MySQL was the second to use dual license, and the first project to do that on GPL. So dual license means that you have the code under 2 licenses. One, in this case, GPL, so that gives you some freedom, but not everybody can use it. So GPL is just a license that says that you can do anything with the code yourself in your company. You can distribute your code to everybody, and everybody gets the same freedom. But if they do attach the code to anything else, that code has also to be free. So we got MySQL, we got between 50 to 70% of our money from companies like Adobe, who didn't want to get Adobe to be open source. So they paid us for exactly the same code, but under a closed source license, so they could use it in Adobe without having to give it on GPL. And this was something that me and David Axmer came up with. And this was what made MySQL successful from the commercial point of view. Unfortunately, the dual license is the best possible license for open source. It doesn't work for all cases. It only works for things that other companies want to embed with your code, like a library or a database that you want to have under the hood of yours. If you're doing a music player or an app on the phone, nobody will combine that with anything else. So you need to come up with something new. So that's when I come up with a business source license, also called delayed open source. So this is not an open source license, but it gives your users and developers the same freedoms as you have in open source, with only a small gotcha. But so the idea is quite simple. You give all code is available. You can use it in any way you want. You can modify it, everything else. But under certain use cases, you have to get a license. And but the freedom comes from 2 facts. First, you have source code, so you can do modifications. The other thing is that after X years, from 1 to 4, depending on project, the code will be open source. And this solves the problem with the vendor lock-in. Of course, if you are using it under the restrictions, you have to pay for a certain time, but you have the freedom to be in charge of your own destiny and how you use the project. All the freedoms that I explained earlier that it's crucial for open source to work. Still works with business source. So this is not to replace open source, but this is to solve a problem that if an app vendor believes in open source but still want to earn money, you can do the app and the business source and say you have to pay for usage. But here's the code, but the app vendor can use it, but you still have to pay for a certain time. And during that time, you do new releases with new stuff that the new developers and users would like to have, but then they are again bound with a new form a period from the start of your first release of that version. And the reason to trust business source is that no vendor lock-in and all source code is available. The good thing with business source is that it actually forces you as a vendor to do frequent releases. Because if you only do one release and then do nothing for 4 years, then your code is free. You have to innovate, and this works for anything that you innovate on. So recommendation is 3 to 4 years. You should have a license that most people can use it for free. We noticed in MySQL time that about 1 in 1,000 paid for MySQL with the GP license that we had. And but if you have millions or tens of millions of users, that's still really a good deal. And don't try to combine this with other licenses, because combination license is always a mess. So there's lots of articles about that. If you download the slides, you can find those. There were an article in it was just today where they talked about this one, and we had Bruce Perens who is one of the founders of open source. He has endorsed business source license for those companies who actually wants to do a business. This is not open source, but it's still a good compromise compared to the alternatives like OpenCore. And in MariaDB Corporation, we have one product, MaxScale, a really smart proxy that we are licensed under DSL, and getting more and more adoption of that. So before we had MaxScale, the deals with MaxScale was typically it's part of the subscription. The typical deals was between 10 to 20,000. Since we did DSL, the deals has been around 100,000, lots of new ones, and we are even talking about deals of several millions. We could never have done that without DSL. So this will help saving the MariaDB Corporation, and that allows us to get more money to develop both MaxScale and MariaDB. So one of the questions I usually get, so how about people who are cheating? We don't care. The thing is that most companies are honest. You don't want to break license because the lawyers hate it. So the bigger you are, the more chances is that people will pay. And in MySQL, we never had any issues. We actually had companies who, the audit committee had ordered the owners to come to us and ask for forgiveness and give us money just because they've broken the GPL license. And the importance of selling licenses. MySQL wouldn't have been possible without licenses. And so if any of you are using OpenCore model now, consider switching to BSL. You're not losing any money because you can change the license, adapt the license so that all your current customers who actually can afford to pay will still have to pay. You get a user base, you get more users, more possible customers, and a better product in them. So, what made MySQL successful? I think that the biggest reason was we had a product that we were using ourselves. I was also batches, and then I needed MySQL to improve that, and because I was the one who had to wait for the batches to finish, during that time I just improved it further. And when we released it, most of the issues that people noticed for the earlier versions was already something I didn't know and understand. I could quickly do that. Of course, we were very lucky. Internet was new, everybody needed a database, and we had a free version, free software that would solve the needs. And we were the second program who uses dual licensing. And most of the things I already talked about.